So you do Ugly Betty, and then is Big Bang Theory like the next audition? Or is there...
Yeah, pretty much.
That's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a welcome
when
to LA.
when I started on Big Bang Theory, I was on I started on season 2. I was only in a couple of episodes.
Right.
So I was still like auditioning for other stuff.
They told you when you did it was a recurring, or was it smaller than that?
It was just, I had auditioned. I knew Chuck Lorre. I had auditioned for other stuff for him. So
Okay.
I actually didn't audition for the role of the comic book guy. And the weird coincidence is, and this goes back to the thing about I was the tech guy. I was going to say this before. I used to work also in a comic book store. Which they had no idea about on Big Bang Theory. That was just another coincidence. And I feel that if I had to audition for the comic book guy, I'm convinced that I wouldn't have gotten it, because I feel like the producers and the network would have been looking for someone who's more of a comic book guy.
Right.
But with me having worked, actually been a comic book guy, it was the same thing with the tech thing, where I realized, oh wait, I don't have to do anything to be the computer guy,
right,
to be the comic book guy. All I have to do, like, as a comic book guy, all I have to do is like bag comic books and fold shirts and then deal with whatever's going on in the scene without having to, waste my concentration on like trying to like be like the comic book character from The Simpsons, or
right,
not be like the comic book character from The Simpsons. You just like, it was a whole thing that if I weren't actually a comic book guy, I don't know that I would have had the confidence to not try to do a comic book guy thing.
You would have definitely overthought it.
Yeah, because that is my
the short version.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, so what part did you audition for originally then for him?
I actually was in an episode of CSI that Chuck Lorre had co-written. It was sort of a crossover thing about these comedy writers that are involved in a murder.
Oh.
And then Chuck wanted me to do. He had the role of Kripke, which John Bowie wound up doing. And John and I, coincidentally, are friends, and we had actually written together. We've written a couple of things together, and we knew each other back from doing commercials in New York.
You guys are similar.
Yeah. And I was doing a movie or something at the time, so I couldn't do that. John Bowie wound up doing Kripke. And then Chuck asked me to do Stewart.
Nice.
And I was available. So.
And when he first asked you that, did he pitch it as like a one episode thing, or he was like, there's a chance for it to be recurring?
I don't remember if they said there was a chance for it to be recurring, but it was definitely, there was nothing written beyond the first episode.
How fun is that to get something like that where you think this is great, I got a nice gig, and then it's the gift that keeps on giving. It feels like
it's the best, because you don't have to do the thing, and then and
you don't have to do the hardest part, the audition.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so and they kept sort of expanding it, and then I think by season 6 it was technically a series regular role, and it's great because I got to avoid the thing of when you're testing and you have to fill out there's no pressure.
Yeah. And every episode that you get is like the gift that keeps giving, I feel like. It's the cherry on top of the cherry.
Lucky, especially now to have lucked into a recurring role on a show that still has an audience because it's 12 years old. So when it started, people were still watching broadcast television.
Right.
And it's sort of one of the last shows to hold on to those eyeballs.
Yeah.
Because now it's not like that anymore.
Because the ones that are even comparable ended years ago.
Yeah.
Like How I Met Your Mother, I'm thinking would be comparable.
Yeah.
Two and a Half Men would be comparable. But they ended a while ago.
Yeah.
It's the last bastion of network television.
Yeah.
What's been the craziest thing that's come as a result of that? Because obviously it's like the number one comedy on TV. Like you just told me you did a Comic-Con in Hawaii a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Is that the craziest thing, or is it crazier than that?
I do those occasionally. I go around the world to like conventions, and there were fans of the show. I went to Saudi Arabia, and that was kind of amazing. I was interviewed by a woman who's traditional burqa and stuff, and to see that, like, it was based like how modern and Western they seemed.
Yeah.
Same question. So what's it like working with Sheldon?
Right.
You know, and like the popularity of that show is unbelievable. I like pretty much everywhere that they have internet access, people are familiar with.
That's
this
crazy
show.
that
Yeah.
it transcends so many languages. Like
Yeah.
that. So does that normalize for you when you go to different countries and stuff? Has that become normal to you, or is it still surreal?
It's
Because I can't imagine that you were ever. Maybe you were. I don't know. I feel like a lot of the people I have on this podcast aren't just aspiring for fame and things like that. It just sometimes it comes.
yeah. No,
So I can't imagine you were ever like, oh, I'm going to be super famous and everyone's going to know me. So does that normalize when that happens, or does?
Well, yeah. I mean, yes and no. I mean, it's happened enough now that I'm not surprised by it.
Sure.
But the feeling of, oh my God, this is awesome. I'm getting the outside validation that I'm so fucked up that I kind of need. So yeah, it's great. It's like it's not unexpected now, but it's still there is still every time that happens, it's still like, I can't believe it.
Right. It seems like such a good fun gig.
It is. It's nice. Yeah. It's nice.